It was an exceptionally mild December, but winter may finally be coming. We take a look at why and what some of the possible impacts are for the U.S. coming up. So we have to talk a little bit about the polar vortex, and there's actually two of them. We talk about a polar vortex in the stratosphere and one in the troposphere, which is where all our weather happens. The stratosphere is about 5 to 9 miles up, and when it's stable, it spins really fast and it kind of keeps the bulk of the real cold air in the stratosphere bottled up towards the pole because it gets dark, of course, in the winter, and so temperatures drop there, and that temperature contrast creates a lot of wind. But when it gets destabilized, we see potential impacts in the lower atmosphere too. And one of the things we look at is the wind speed. When it's spinning fast, it's stable, and when it decreases, that means that it's less stable. You either have a disruption or a squeezing of the stratospheric polar vortex like this. This is the forecast over the next 10 days. You've got a lot of heat being pushed towards it, and that squeezes it, can even split it. Sometimes we get what's called a stratospheric warming event, which means it kind of collapses altogether. This is a three-dimensional view of that squeeze that we're going to be seeing over the next 10 days to 2 weeks. And when that happens, it can have impacts here in the lower atmosphere, mostly by pushing some of the cold further south, either into Europe, North America, or Siberia. And what that looks like is kind of a scattering of chunks or lobes of that really cold air. So we've been above normal for many parts of the northern U.S., very typical El Nino pattern, and it continues for the next several days. But as we head into the next 5 to 10 day period, we're going to start to see a big shift here towards below normal temperatures, temporarily at least. Even in an El Nino winter, even in a mild winter, we still get bouts of cold. And it's pretty typical that the vortex, the polar vortex in the stratosphere, gets disrupted once a year or at least every other year, and this may be that disruption that we're looking for. And on the edges of that cold, we get snowfall, of course, as that cold air plunges towards warmer air, towards where the moisture source is that can produce snow. So over the next 10 days, this is a 10-day snowfall total, we're going to start to see snow in areas that have largely been missing a lot of it finally. Snow depth is pretty pathetic right now across places like Minnesota that should have a lot, Wisconsin, but even parts of the Northeast too. Really got to go into Quebec or in the mountains to see snow. A year ago, this is what it looked like. A little bit better, but even a year ago it was below normal, but at least the upper Midwest, typical areas that should be covered in snow were. Northeast, not so much. And this is what normal January snow depth looks like. Yeah, we should see quite a bit more snow for the northern states. And I think we're going to look a little bit more like this over the next couple of weeks through the course of a couple of different snowfalls. So polar vortex is being disrupted. That could have impacts. Cold air and snow could be headed our way.